You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
Welcome to A Life in Ruins podcast, where we investigate the careers of those living a life in ruins. I am your host, Carlton Gover, and I am joined by my co-hosts, David Ian Howe and Connor Johnin. We are back with episode 131. It has been a minute since we recorded an episode. We're back, unfortunately for some people. So yeah, and this is the first time the three of us have been on an episode in
10 years?
Like months. It's been months.
Drop me a beat and I'll rap about what's been going on.
I can't beatbox.
Connor seems to have one ready to go.
Oh, I can put on some lo-fi beats. I'll give you a track.
I don't even know what the soundboard is anymore. I don't remember any of this stuff.
There's a lot of Halo ones.
No, I switched them out. What is this?
Is that the beat we're doing?
No, it was the coffin song.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah. We've been gone for months, faking our summer, driving in a Hummer. Man, that needs gas. Gas is high priced. We want to go back and play with Fisher Price. Here we are on our podcast, making rhymes, making people laugh. We got mad stuff about archaeology. Kanye West, man, he crazy. We got some stuff. We've been gone for a minute. Carlton's a professor. Connor is no, I can't say that. Sorry. Not as bad as I thought it would go. Not as bad. But yes,
there was some rhymes there. I am.
It was topical.
Yeah, no, it was proved. It was good. It was good. Yeah.
I was trying to say our podcast was childish like Fisher Price, and it didn't.
That was good. That was a good line. I was Fisher Price, man. Play school. Yeah, no, excellent. Good stuff. So yeah, anyway, it has been a hot moment. I think it was necessary. We had, yeah. Well, part of that also was there was the, for those that aren't aware, our producers, Chris Webster and Rachel Roden, took the month of October off. And so that's why we had some episodes not belonging to our podcast, and then apparently just not episodes at all. But we're back. So this episode comes out, I think, Thanksgiving weekend, right?
So we're going to talk about topical stuff.
Topical things.
Like the first Thanksgiving, of course. No, it's been episode 117 was the last one we were all together on, I think, which is wild.
That's a hot. People were like afraid we were breaking up.
Yeah.
Like genuinely concerned.
The talk of the town this summer at the field camp, someone would sit next to me and they're like, boy band issues? And I was like, no, we're fine. Carlton's just literally moving into a tenure track position. Connor's crying somewhere, and I'm literally trying to film the coolest Clovis excavation that's ever been, and I'm poor. So it's like, what are we gonna do? What can you do? You know what I mean?
Okay, who are we of NSYNC? Like,
I'm the gay one.
I only know Justin Timberlake and Lance Bass, and I think Lance Bass is he the one?
There's JT and the gay one. That's all I know.
I'll take JT. I think we'll give Carlton JT. No, I'll take Justin. Isn't there another like JC?
JC Chazet, dude. I saw him live at Summer Jam 2004.
I don't even know who's in NSYNC. There's JT, and then there's JC Chases, Chris Kirkpatrick, Joey Fatone, and Lance Bass.
Oh, I want to be Joey Fat One.
Fatone.
Joey Fatone, how you doing?
They still have a website?
I think they're touring.
They do still have a website. Are they actually?
I've seen some theories that people think boy bands were like trained by the CIA to like send, like kind of like Civilization 4 or 5, send culture out to different countries. Like what K-pop's doing now. Pretty soon we're all going to be eating bulgogi.
That's fun with me, man. I'll take.
Yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah. So, David, you have a new podcast.
I do and I don't. It's like whenever I get a chance to do it. So if you notice, the first one was out months ago and the second episode was out months later. But yes, I wasn't actually going to plug that, but it's just on my YouTube.
We should absolutely plug that because it's like good quality. I enjoyed watching you and Spencer talk.
Oh, you watched it?
Yeah, of course I watched it.
Spencer is one of the most brilliant individuals I've ever spoken to. And like, I wanted to pick his brain about that stuff real bad.
Yeah.
But it's youtube.com/DavidIanHowe. And I mainly wanted to do it because I want to do the video aspect and I want to be able to put what we're talking about over top of the thing. Whereas this podcast is like, we really can dive into like specific things and I try to be less goofy, but I did just rap. So
I did love that it's like filmed in like a place that we all have been to multiple times. You know,
we've all felt like slept there, shit there.
It felt very at home.
Grown up there for a few of us. Some of us have eaten a whole pizza and fallen asleep in a chair there.
The times. It was, I was really happy to see Spencer at the Plains Conference in Oklahoma City this year. I hung out with him a lot. And it was really cool to be now I'm on the board of directors with him. And it was really cool to kind of see him in that mode and feel as like more like a colleague. It was cool to see. Cause that was, it was weird.
Where was Plains this year?
Oklahoma City. So I got to see some Pawnee folks, which was cool. I got to see my grandfather's portrait hanging up in the Capitol building. That was really awesome. And, but yeah, like a lot of my friends who are still in grad school were treating me a little different now. And I'm like, I'm the same old idiot. They're like, no, you're not. You're one of them now. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So now I hung out a lot with Spencer. So yeah, this has been a weird couple months of my new learning curve. And we're inclined to whatever I am now. So got to hang out with him a lot, and it was fun. Got to talk some fun stuff with him, and it was really cool to see him talk with Steve Holland. Him and Steve Holland got together and had like a talk about Cerruti and some of these other things, and it was really cool to just hear Spencer pick Steve's brain about those things.
Has Steve Holland heard our episodes on Cerruti?
No,
he probably shouldn't.
No, I really like Steve. Like I'm working on a project with Steve, and I don't want him to know the things that I said several years ago about that paper.
Let's go ahead and take that episode off the air.
We can't. It's like after the Bob Kelly episode, that is the best episode we got.
We stand by them. They're not a criticism specifically of him.
No,
just some questions. We have some questions. We have some legitimate questions.
We encored it, and like within the first 3 minutes, Carlton's like, "Yeah, he's a great archaeologist," but I mean, he likes. I was just like, "Oh no!"
He's a great guy, great archaeologist. Weird stuff. No, I like him a lot. Yeah, he's a really cool cat. He did his graduate work on Pawnee archaeology and stuff, and that was interesting. We had a whole Pawnee session at Plains this year. And my uncle drove down from Pawnee with one of my cousins, and I was like, "Oh shit,
Indiana!"
They got
huh? Did
Pawnee,
you make a Parks and Rec joke there?
Oh yeah, I was like,
the audience.
Well, now that I'm in Indiana, I was like, wait a second, what are you talking about? No, they don't live in Indiana. No, from Pawnee, Oklahoma, And after the session, my uncle's like, "Get over here." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I'm in trouble." And I was like, "What's going on?" He's like, and he just started asking me questions about the research. And I was like, "Oh, so did you like it?" He's like, "Well, I didn't learn anything." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I already knew all that stuff. Like, it's really cool to see like white people know things we already know or learn things we already know." And I was like, that's a fair criticism. Because they were talking weird, like some of the sets were talking about like where pipes came from in the lodges. And he's like, "Yeah, we know. We brought that." It was like kind of fun. Room was hot,
did Matt come down? Matt Reed, the Tipo?
He did come down. He was part of our session. And also we had a reception at the Oklahoma Historical Society, which was a gorgeous building. For some reason, I thought it was going to be like in an old warehouse and it was just going to be dingy, but it is this gorgeous building. And then Matt like curated all these materials, like the Native American section he did. And it was like nuts. Oh, they haven't really changed this that much. It's like the Pawnee Star chart's like hanging on the ceiling with black lights, and he has all this stuff there. And there's like my family stuff. There's quotes from my family, photographs of my family. Like, oh, I fucking love this museum. I was like, great.
Is that Is that like the one that's like brand new and like sweet and that he was talking about in our episode?
I think so, because he was working there at least with the past 2 decades. I don't know. Matt listens to this too, so it's like I will get a text message when this comes out if I've said anything wrong. But no, he worked there before becoming Tipo, so at least within the past 20 years he was there. I don't know when the building was made, but it does look post 1990s.
So you said you were getting like a lot of like respect from people and like notoriety from them. How's that feel?
I don't know if it's respect. I think it's just I think it's an acknowledgement that I'm no longer one of the grad students. I think that's how it is, which has been weird, because now it's like I'm in a different space and there's different expectations of how I conduct myself, which is fine.
Yeah. Did you? And I think we talked off air a little bit about this. So you feel like there's a transition of like people you're friends with because of this, not like on purpose, but it's just things change and
I have to be careful now. Yeah, I have to be really careful. Even like, because Mac and Emily go here, have been on the podcast, and like they're some of my closest friends. And even how I interact, like I can't gossip with them about the department, and they can't do the same with me. So like now things we used to talk about, no longer allowed to talk about. They had a Halloween party and there were other grad students that came, and I was kind of just hung out on the porch most of the time by myself, because it's like I can't get tanked or, it's like this is weird. And like Doug, before I left, Doug gave me like a list of rules that he learned about, navigating those spaces. So it's weird. And even like another friend of ours here, she needs someone on her committee, and I've been extraordinarily resistant. I'm like, you know way too much about my personal life. Like, this is not okay. It's like, it would be, the only thing worse would be if like one of you two came here and I was on your committee. Like, there's just no fucking way. There's no respect there. Like, there's just like, no, shut up, idiot. Like, there's none of like, that's not a thing. But like, people are pushing them. Well, you should have Carlton on your committee. And they're like, he's our friend. Like, that's going to really mess with the dynamic. So it's been odd in that sense. But weirdly enough, I've been getting more practice now that I'm affiliated with the underwater archaeology program. A lot of the undergrads from the underwater science have asked me to be on their committee, and I'm working more closely with
McAllister.
Yeah, Maddie McAllister. She's coming back in that way. So I've been working closely with undergrads, and their big thing is like the director of that program wants me because of my collaborative work. And so like the first thing I did with some of these students, I was like, we're going to delete the term prehistory and prehistoric out of your vocabulary because that needs to change. And so that's been helped. So I'm getting more in that mentorship role with undergrads, which I'm already used to as a grad student. But like even the way I dress, like I try to dress nice, because like the amount of times even some of my colleagues mistake me for a graduate student.
There's no pink tank tops happening.
No pink tank top, no tie-dye.
Even just a flannel tucked in is like, a professor look, but it separates the men from
out in Wyoming,
as
not here. Like we're talking about like my department is a lot of Chicago, Berkeley, and Ivy League grads who like dress up.
Like a tie every day.
I mean, I don't go hard. I usually just wear slacks and like a button-up t-shirt, and that usually does it. Put my hair in a bun, brush my beard. That's about it. Is it nice to do all this without having to teach classes, like as an added stress upon that? Or is I wish I could teach, because like that's kind of kept me away from the department and like meeting people and like getting to know the community more, because I'm not teaching. So I do mostly like I'm working on papers and projects, and I've spent a lot of time meeting people around campus. I'm always asking everyone from my department to go get coffee with me to talk research. I'm meeting with people in like the underwater sciences program, Earth and Atmo, folklore, the archive of traditional music. So I'm always meeting with folks. It's how I've been trying to keep my time and by building community. And I've reached out to like SHPO, the state archaeologist, and other archaeologists around the state that I am here. And I would like to do more stuff here in Indiana, and also some of the affiliate campuses through the Indiana system, because it's not just IU Bloomington, there's IU Indiana, there's IU. So one system spread out throughout the state. And they have some archaeology departments spread out. So I'm like just trying to reach out and build those connections. So that's been kind of the major part of my work. But since I'm in two departments, the amount of emails I get is
staggering
intense. So there's like faculty meetings. There's also museum staff meetings. And then since I'm one of the only BIPOC professors on campus, which is a ridiculous thing to say, like I get asked to do a lot of service and my opinion matters on things. And I'm one of 5, I'm one of like 4 enrolled Native faculty in this campus of 50,000 undergrads. And I think like one of 9 people of Indigenous descent. Not a big depth chart, so for Native American Peoples Month, which is November this month, like I got asked to do a lot of things, and but it's actually been really cool because I've reached out a lot to Heather Rockwell and to Spencer and to Eric, and it's been an interesting. Eric has been helpful. It has been a transition because like I don't know how to describe it because I had a perception of what professors were like in professor politics as a grad student, and it's not that. It is fundamentally different. Like there is a curtain on the other side, and once you make that, it's a whole different world of politics. And professors know more than I think graduate students know, but they can't talk to grad students. Like there's this weird there is department politics. There is a department plan to deal with things, but they have to deal with it internally. And quite frankly, it's not the grad student's business of some of the things that they're worried about. And it's like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like there's just, it's just different. Like there's a lot more thought.
Yeah. And sometimes you can, I feel like as a grad student, you can feel that stuff leaking out a little bit. Like you can get some of that stuff that's going on above your head and you're like, oh, someone's doing this or a drama here or whatnot. But now you're involved in all those talks. Yeah. Like you are very much privy to that.
And it's interesting. Like a lot of our faculty meetings are dealing with like higher up campus initiatives and like trying to decide, like navigate the department for like the next decade. Like those are things I never thought of. Like they're really playing the long con here of trying to just survive and really looking at the decline of academia and trying to navigate cuts. And so it's a long game and it's crazy, and I'm like, oh, I'm not prepared for these conversations, like I just got here kind of stuff.
Well, speaking of not being prepared for something, I got some anecdotes to tell you guys in the next session about you, Carlton, or I guess the podcast in general.
Sweet. And we'll be right back with episode 131 to hear those anecdotes. Where are you? And I'm so sorry.
I cannot sleep.
No, I dream tonight.
Because tonight is the night that I will fall for
you over again.
That's it.
We are back.
No. We're back, ready to fill your feeds and get emails from people saying that we're a 14-year-old girl sleepover. Can't wait. But we weren't there at the 14-year-old girl sleepover. Just clarifying on that. Anyway, so here's the deal. I was at this is weird, guys. This is weird. And like this counts for all of us, not just me. But having not been in academia or being around like, our archaeology family in years, being just like with Chris and Augusta, I'm always like, man, like, I wonder what people think of our work, or like, are we just goofy idiots and stuff like that? And I went to all summer with these people, and they were like, oh my God, like you're David Ian Howe, like all the grad students, like Bob showed everyone your thesis. And I was like, oh God, I thought he hated it. They were like, no, he loves it. He shows it to everybody. And I was like, damn. Jacob Arnson, great guy. We've been foot-napping together. Said he went to Wyoming because of the podcast. Like it was part of what convinced him there. That was crazy. And here's another crazy thing, guys, that you'll feel weird about. You know at Laprelle, in the big excavation block? Well, they bring the field school students in, and all the field school students are just standing there on like the ledge looking at us dig while they're introducing us. And I was like, oh my God. These are children. Like I am so old. And the people see me as like, because I'm friends with Spencer, friends with Todd. I know Maddie really well, so they see me as like an upper person. Like people see Carlton, but I'm not a professor, so it's odd. The funniest thing about this though was during the introductions, Todd was introducing everybody, and he was like, "Name your favorite potato dish." And I was like, "Okay, my name's David. I guess latkes," because everyone else had said like fries and baked potatoes. And then Todd was like, he's our well, I'll do Spencer first. He was like, this is Spencer. He's the state archaeologist. And Bob butts in. He's like, well, he's also a Wyoming alumni and PhD. And then we were like, oh, yeah. And then it got to me, and Todd was like, here's David, our resident podcaster and micro celebrity, something. And then I was like, yeah, I do internet stuff, and I guess I like latkes was my answer. And then Bob was like, well, David is also a Wyoming alumni. He did his master's here, and it was seminal work. And I was just trying to reduce it because it's so embarrassing to say that we're internet people. But later on, two of the students came up to me and they're like, wait, you're the Life in Ruins guy? And I was like, yeah, I'm David. Carlton's the main host. And they're like, yeah, I listen every week. I didn't realize that was you. And I was like, oh God. And all of them had heard of Ruins, and even guest people that came were like, so what's your podcast? And a new professor at Wyoming was like, I love the podcast. And I was like, I can't handle this. I'm going to throw up.
Wow.
And people listen to it, man. And it's weird.
I met a dude 2 nights ago. He's an archaeologist with the Department of Natural Resources, the DNR. And he's like, oh, you're Carlton from Life in Ruins. And I'm like, how? I don't know this guy. I'm like, how do you know this? Oh, I listen to podcasts. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of a bummer because I listen on my government phone and the government censors the podcasts that have cursing on it. So I guess there's some mechanism when we started cursing again, so he only has a window. But he was because he was talking to me about genetics and language. And I was like, yeah, I mean, that stuff's cool. He's like, well, this is what you said on the podcast. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh no, I listened to Life in Ruins. And I remember this episode. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And pulled it up. It's like, dude, I don't even remember the episodes I recorded a week before. I'm sorry.
I listened to Max Stearns yesterday, and I was like, I forgot this whole interview happened.
There's a physical blackout that happens every time you record something, in this little room.
And it was a great interview.
Yeah. It's all great, but it's I don't remember any of the stuff
because we were recording
for any of the episodes
back to back. I was trying to do because I've been writing out emails lately, and I'm trying to get more people to have episodes the Lana and Ella stuff, people from the similar backgrounds, so they can just meet and chat, so we don't have to do anything. And then I was trying to well, you should listen to their episode. I'm like, man, it felt like I was going through Maddie McAllister stuff. I'm like, I thought we just interviewed her a couple months ago, and it's been over a year. And I'm like, oh, damn, yeah, we definitely need to have her back on. Or I was like, when was the last time Marina Bocci was on? It was episode 36. Yeah, there's some of those people from early, I still think we're in the episode 30s for some reason. That's, I have a blackout from after Settlers of Cerruti up until Call Sign Butcher, which apparently we recorded in May.
Call Sign Butcher? We got to get Vinny Bag of Donuts back on here and talk about lumping and splitting, because that's going to be a good one.
Yeah. We've been doing this for 3 years, guys.
Vinny Bag of Donuts. He's my Bag of Donuts guy.
Is it Damien Kirkwood? Is that? I can't remember. We need to have him back on.
He just got a new job. Yeah. Shout out Damien. He just got also shout out Ann Stevens, by the way. You were the one that said that you listened to the show. Also, you were a genuinely cool, good person to talk to. Appreciated that.
Hell yeah.
And yeah, Damien, shout out, just got the new, was it GIS manager, Shippo?
He's the whole Shippo manager, or the.
Oh, Judy stepped out?
Well, Judy's been gone for a little bit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Since we're doing shout outs, real quick.
Wyoming alumni are killing it, by the way. Where Spencer's the state art, Carlton's immediately got a job. Connor's GIS whiz. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. Maddie,
we're an invasion force. We're officially an invasion force.
Yes, we are. Just a real quick shout out. So we haven't answered emails in a long time. So Rich,
did you see Matt Stern's mom's email?
Yeah, I did. So Rich, we'll get back to you with those with those stickers and Broudus. We always love when you comment. We will look into your email, The Idiot's Guide to American Upper Paleolithic. We're on it. Amy would love to talk
all our old laundry.
Yeah, I'm looking at stuff from August. I'm like, Amy, we'll get back to you about the Santa Fe Institute. Lindsay, also on it. Thank you so much for the links. I just felt bad because the one time we get in a plethora of emails, people wanting us was the 2 months we were just not around.
All right, well, Carlton's gone, so it's just me and CJZ, or no, Spiral Out CJ. I can't get any of these names right.
C Jizzy.
So what do you think about Kanye? Whose side are you on this whole Russia-Ukraine thing?
Kanye's.
Anyway, how was your summer, man? How are things going for you?
It's good. Good. Very busy summer up here. Lots of work, lots of stuff. I think we talked about a little bit on it the last podcast, or like the podcast where we advise people not to go into cultural resources.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
I went right into cultural resources.
Yeah. And then you did 3 months of monitoring in the middle of nowhere.
I got some money, which was very much needed, and it was awesome. And it's kind of cool work because you're like, if they do find something, like, I want to be here to see it. And I also got to interact with the tribal monitor. Awesome guy. And we talked all day about Arapaho history and just great interaction I wouldn't have had without that job. And I was in the field working with indigenous people.
So anyways, yeah, we have emails to catch up on. We weren't ignoring you. We will get back to you guys as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for emailing us. You just emailed us during a weird time, so we can move on from that whole thing. So yeah, no, it's cool to see how successful Wyoming grads are. And what everyone's up to. It's a cool thing.
Yeah. Carlton, you cut out, but I was talking about working with that tribal monitor. I really want you guys to talk. He was a genuinely cool dude. And it was really funny too. He was talking about all this Arapaho tradition and things like that and how to respect artifacts and how they get their, he used the term Indian name, but I don't know what you guys, I guess it differs per nation. And then I was like, so what are your kids' names? And he named them after the guitarist and the drummer from Metallica. And I was like, oh, hell yeah.
James and Lars.
Something like that. Was it Metallica or it was another band? But anyway, yeah.
That's funny.
Connor was retelling us about his summer.
I did nothing. I went to Hawaii and contemplated life. It was great. I would go back in a second. Not really any archaeology there, but that I was aware of, or we did. But it was fun. That kind of started the break, I think, of us being like, yeah, let's take a month off. It was 10 days of me in Hawaii and then Carlton making small moves across the country. So it was.
And then the whole network took a month off.
Yeah.
Series of timeouts.
If Shane is listening to this, I want to let it be known I'm still super disappointed that we're not going to Puerto Rico in 2 weeks for Thanksgiving. I was so excited for that.
We tried to get you to rope into a trip through the South. Come on, hopping in a car together with the boys, driving through this hot South in the winter.
It was not the same vibe I had. I was
the same thing as Puerto Rico.
It is not the same thing as
Christmas, though.
I'm going to Italy for Christmas.
Jesse, Shane, you're going to Italy?
I'm going to Italy.
For what reason?
I'm meeting up with my Ukrainian colleagues to talk about our 3D scanning and artifact digitization project.
You going to meet Ola Palutova?
What?
I come with you.
Do you want to? Yeah, I'm meeting up with Simon in Italy. No, I'm not meeting up.
I've been to Italy. I speak Italian. Let's do this.
All right, sweet. I think we're meeting up in Turin.
Some gabagool.
Gabagool. I mean, I guess.
You're not making a pit stop in Spain, or?
I'm not making a pit stop in Spain. Maybe on the way back. But I'm going to Spain first to meet up with Saxhaven. Sure. I mean, we're going to Turin first, and then we're going to go to what's the place with the canals? Venice to meet up with another colleague, and then back, and then Lisbon for SHAs, and then fly home.
Damn.
The SHAs are in the Society for Historical Archaeology is in Lisbon.
Yeah. You can sleep on the floor if you can. If you guys want to fly out for that, just sleep on the floor of my hotel room. I'll cover it.
How much is a flight? I might actually do that.
I have no idea. Once again, I'm having my
Ukrainian friends, dude. They're cool.
Yeah, if you want to come out to Italy, I think Simon might come out to SHAs. He was talking about maybe. That's down the road.
Well, I would love to participate in body recovery at some point because I literally am specialized in that. But
yeah, the war has to end first. Yeah, to start recovering that. But no, I'll keep you in mind for that. But yeah, let's talk outside the podcast on coordinating if you guys are serious about meeting up in northern Italy right after Christmas. I think I'm flying out the 27th. I just couldn't justify 2 weeks in Italy to my department to spend research money, because then it's like that's kind of vacation, and they're not wrong. So 1 week of just strictly research.
I'll tell you something about Italy real quick though.
Yeah.
I got a cab driver, and I speak Spanish enough, and I grew up hearing Italian, so I could pick out what was going on. And also, by the way, if you can't get something across, just say it in Spanish, they'll figure it out. I had a cab driver in Rome who asked me, and I believe to what he said was, do you have a lady for the night? And I was like, no, I'm good. I'm good. And then he was like telling me where to go in different parts of the city to find it. And he was like, just make sure you don't go into the hotel room or you don't go through the lobby with them. And I was like, I feel unsafe in this car. And then the man proceeds to pull over he was taking me to the Coliseum, pulls over, honks his horn at a beautiful woman and goes, Mamma mia, and then just kept driving. And I was like, this is really happening. And another quick anecdote, I had a guy taking me to the conference where I met Angela, and he asked me what archaeology I was doing, because I got that across, but I couldn't explain the details, so I used Google Translate, and I said that we studied dogs in the past, and he was like, why? And then he points to the Coliseum, and he's like, isn't this a little more? And he was like, looking for the word, and he was like brillo, and I was like, well, yeah, it is a little more cool, to have a Coliseum, but I like dead dogs, so what?
So let's sue me.
Maybe I can meet up with Hattori Hanzo if he'll come up to Milan or Turin.
I'll be there.
Yeah. No, let's talk. Let's coordinate, man. That'd be a fun time. We could get in some trouble because I'm going to be there over New Year's. That's what I'm kind of stoked about. Yeah, it should be fun.
It's going to be wild.
Yeah. I'm just excited to see the lights and just be in Europe. I'm excited for the social media and dating app aspect. I need new pictures.
In Italy.
Yeah.
Well, let me know when you go, because I might come with you.
Yeah, no, I'll send you the itinerary. Yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
Do you think they'll let me out of the country?
Our country or Italy?
Yes.
Gotcha. And welcome back to episode 131. So getting us back on track. For those that have still made it through this far, because clearly there's no real archaeology content, just a heads up, we have sent out a bunch of invites to get people on. So Joe Watkins, Sonia Adelaide.
Joe Watkins, wow.
Yeah. Jane Lee Thompson. And then I also reached out to Rebecca Lamb and Kay Matena, the two indigenous tattoo archaeologists, to come back for a joint episode. I'm excited for that. Maddie McAllister has agreed to come back. Excited to see what's been under the sea. And Lewis Bork, and there's a couple other folks. I sent 10 invites out. And there's also some outstanding ones from earlier that we needed to.
You and I have a whole Lord of the Rings episode that hasn't aired yet.
It comes out. It will be the episode that precedes this one, and we should probably do part 2 of that, because we recorded that after episode 3, and it's been weeks since the series has ended. We have, right? That was meant to come out a while ago,
and that was pre
add to the list of, huh?
That was pre the big reveals, a couple of the big archaeological things, right?
Galadriel, dude. Anyway, also, what's the bad guy's name?
Haldor.
Before he reveals himself.
Oh, God damn it.
Halbrand? That's a handsome man. That's what it is. I was like, damn, they cast that guy good.
You guys should take a picture of Carlton.
I know, he's frozen. While you guys are waiting on Carlton to unfreeze, I also want to invite Jarrell Kohler on here. He is the indigenous archaeologist I was working with. The indigenous tribal monitor I was working with. He's not an archaeologist. I also met a lovely person at LaPrel who does climate research. She used to be a Wyoming master's student, or I think PhD, and she does climate lobbying in DC. That would be a great episode to have. And there are 2 other people that, shout out McKenna Latinsky, was telling me to get on the show. And there are several master's students at Wyoming that once they finish, we can have them on the show and do their
Dave.
their research.
The other Dave Anderson's penciled in.
DGA D under 19.
Yeah, and then Iride Tomacic, she's going to be on here after her research is concluded. I think she's back from Europe, so she'll be on here. Looks like we got a letter out to Delaney Cooley from University of Oklahoma. Yeah, so it's exciting. We are making new content. We are going places. It will not just be chaos and us singing punk songs and or dropping sick beats every episode.
Oh shit, is it still recording? Fuck, sorry. I don't know what is up with my audio.
I want to, I guess, plug real quick while we got time is I got contacted. I mean, you guys are aware of this, but by a company. It's an ex-Nat Geo producer, has like this little small short film company, and they asked me to make a little short film, which ended up just being a 3-minute Instagram film. But in this day and age, that's considered a short film, apparently. And the question was like, how are other species different from us? And I worked all summer at it, and I finally finished it, and that airs, I think, November 25th. So
hell yeah, congrats, brother!
That'd be kind of cool. So I'll make sure to plug the pod in the comments on that one because it's like a collaborative post.
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
lots of stuff happening. Is the short film becoming shorter because of TikTok and our attention spans?
This is on the Spencer and I talked about the other day. Yeah, it's like people can't a YouTube video. It's either you got to commit to a half-hour YouTube video while you're eating your breakfast, or you have to watch something that's a short. Otherwise, you have no attention span for it. And that's where the world's coming to. So, and I think Matt Stern talked about this too. You got to rope people in within the first 3 seconds or they're not watching it. And that's a damn shame.
Yeah, we're hitting there's that scene from WALL-E with all those fat people in the chairs with all the lights. We're hitting that point. And
I need to get a little lower and then I'll really flip it.
I welcome that future, dude.
Yeah,
I saw somebody on a Jazzy at Walmart use a gopher grabber to pick something up that they dropped, and I was like, I want to be at that level, in the future. I want a gopher grabber attached to my arm that I don't have to bend over anymore. Do you know how difficult tying your shoes is? It's a hassle.
Let's just go Go-Go Gadget. You might as well,
I'm doing all right. I go to the gym every morning. I'm a little flexible. I don't mind that stuff anymore, but pre-coming out to Indiana, bending over sucked. Yeah, I don't know.
Since I was a kid, I'd rather not tie my shoes ever. It's such a task.
That's why I get the little zip ups. I got those zip up boots. Although I blew through another pair, so I got to order another one. I was like, why are my feet wet? I'm like, oh, the soles are gone again. Cool. Wear the hell out of those things. Yeah. What else is going on in archaeology in general? I don't know. Essays is coming up.
Portland.
We
get to hang out. Oh, we can do a live show with Stefan Milo.
Stefan Milo's coming.
Of course he'll be there. It's Portland. Or we'll just go to his house. His 7th appearance on the podcast. We got to pay him at this point. Yeah. He's a lad. Tuesday, ain't it?
It's Tuesday. It is Tuesday.
I really like about Queen. My dad really liked that episode. He thought that was that was a fun episode.
I learned a lot, even just looking up stuff for that episode. No, I mean, a lot of our guests are going to be there. We should actually probably throw down, send an invite to everyone. Hey, we're throwing in a Life in Ruins meetup,
a meetup.
Yeah. So we should figure out a night
David,
that's not
shots and he'll be as drunk as Connor and Carlton after 7.
Why would even be worse?
Audios. That would be the night drink. Just a bucket of audios.
I have a very important question, Carlton. How do you go? Yeah, we should maybe get a booth. My important question is. Okay, we're not getting a booth. How do you get an audios motherfucker into a staff get together?
I don't know. I haven't tried.
Trash.
I have no idea. I mean, it looks like blue Gatorade. I could probably just put it in a blue Gatorade bottle, and I just could not sit next to anyone because they could just smell
what is
the alcohol.
People lighting cigarettes near it.
Yeah, it is. So this is funny. So Mac and Emily got married a couple weeks ago. And I behaved myself. So we had a couple buzz balls because I was a groomsman. Like we just drinking Coors Lights beforehand. I paced myself real good. Then we went to the bar afterwards, and like I was ordering those. And there was a point in the night when someone's like, "We're leaving. Carlton is coming with us." And like there was that voice inside the back of my head was like, "You need to go now, or else you won't remember getting home." But apparently, like I bought a brand new Adios motherfucker and I already closed out. And I just looked at Emily's dad. I was like, "Put it on his tab." And the next morning, I got a Venmo request from him. He's like, "What is this?" I was like, "I really don't remember doing that, man." And he's like, because he was asking him, he was like, "Who orders this drink? Like, what is this?" She's like, "That was Carlton."
It's only one person that could be.
Yeah, it's only one person who did that because I was drinking those that night. They didn't even have karaoke. I was just like, I had a Touch Tunes app on my phone from Lynch, and I was like, I spent $50 on songs at the bar, and I would just get up on stage and just start screaming songs that I was playing. Like I put Wagon Wheel on like 7 times in a row, just sitting there just screaming. I had such a good night. It was a fun time. Yeah, no, we should
still alive and kicking it, so that's good to know.
Yeah, but yeah, we should definitely. I think people would enjoy that. Like, we should have a night so that's not at the Roundup and not during the Native reception, which I have to host. So whenever night, maybe a Saturday night, but then see who's there because like a bunch of our guests have to be going.
Yeah. I mean, surely Maddie McAllister, maybe not, but
maybe not.
We'll put it on our socials though.
Yeah, we could also just email everyone. We should send Bob an official invite, like, Dr. Kelly, we were wondering if you will be attending this year's SCAs because there will be a Life in Ruins guest.
It's a black tie event.
Black tie.
I bonded with Bob this summer cooking bok choy.
Really?
It was like the weirdest situation, but I was like, we were talking and he was like, "Where's your family from?" And I was like, "Upstate." Good talk. My mom's from the city. Well, I said my dad doesn't drink, and he was like, "Good for him." As I was drinking a gin and tonic.
That's Bob. I remember like the first holiday party there was like fermented like soda or something there, and he couldn't drink that. It was like a tea maybe. And I remember Heather being super cool. Like, "Hey Bob, I have this tea for you." He was like, "It's fermented. I can't drink this." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
Because he's Baha'i, right?
He's Baha'i.
Interesting.
No fermentation, no caffeine. Dude's clean as a Catholic nun.
The caffeine thing, man, is what would get me. Like, I think that would kill me first. Booze would eventually get me, but
I drank coffee for the first time in like months the other day. I had a pumpkin spice coffee, and like, let me tell you, I was very productive that day. I see why people do it.
I'm straight black coffee now, man. Because it was wrecking. I mean, I took one look at what a vanilla latte was, and it was like 350 calories. And like, that's one of my snacks. Like, and it's not filling. I can't do that. So I'm straight black coffee now. There's a
lot of calories and things. Like
now that I'm calorie counting and looking at macros, yeah, like I'm surprised. Like today though, like I forgot to bring my protein bars, my shakes, and my peanuts, and so like I did get home and I ordered a pizza, and that was at noon. I haven't eaten since because I can't go over my budget.
Your body's like, yeah, Americanos are a good alternative too because it's just hot water and espresso.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the good stuff. Yeah, it's wild when you start looking into that stuff.
Sorry. Podcast about food and cuisine. We should get Jay Tui on.
You should. My whole department. That's like my department's focus is like food and anthropology. Yeah. One of my colleagues grows teosinte as part of her peace garden. It was like 3 meters tall. It just rocketed. I was like, it was nuts.
She grows corn and just using that word, or is it like a specific?
No, it's like specific ancestral teosinte before maize. Cool. Like the wild version of corn. Like I didn't even know it existed. And she was like showing me pictures. I was like, holy shit.
How big are the cobs? They're not big, right?
I didn't see the cobs. Small. I just saw the stalks. Yeah, but I think there's only like 2 rows, if that, and like couple kernels.
That's nuts.
Yeah. No, it's corn.
I really like corn.
What do you like about corn?
It's cold.
Big lumpy nose.
Is that I just realized
yeah, it's corn. Yeah, dude.
You can't understand songs without like seeing the lyrics, and on TikTok, it's like real hard.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wait, You didn't catch that the whole time the corn thing was happening?
No, I thought it was saying it's cold.
Man, they even started Corn Hub.
Daddy, chill.
Oh. I was at the bar the other day, and somebody was telling me they went to a lecture at the psychology department in Wyoming, and they talked about porn usage. And apparently Wyoming, of all states, has the longest amount of time spent per page. I don't know what exactly that means he was trying to explain, but we were like, maybe it's the internet connection, it gets stuck and they watch the same video for 10 minutes.
There's 200,000 people in that state, and I imagine one person that just has
it's just one guy.
Just one person who just never, just as an infinite loop, is driving up those numbers. That state, you can't compare anything population wise between Wyoming and somewhere else, because it has the most per cap of everything, because there's 4 people in most towns out there. Yeah, there's absolutely more cows. There's more people in the county I grew up in, Northern Virginia, in the entire state of Wyoming.
I do like to think of it'd be dial-up internet, so that a 10-minute video really would take 30 minutes or so with all the buffering.
Where the guy just had one model he really liked, or girl. Who knows? But speaking of small numbers in Wyoming, it was kind of an awkward thing, but we were standing at the food line at La Prel, and Paris looks at me and Todd, and she goes, "Wow, this is the most Jews in Wyoming." Todd, tried not to laugh, and he was like, Rich thought that was very funny.
I bet Rich thought that was very funny. That's amazing.
Rich is the man, dude. I also got to hang with Danny Walker most of the summer. Let me tell you, I love that man. He's getting old and his back doesn't, he can't walk so well. And I was trying to help him out as much as I could, but just a wealth of knowledge, genuinely good man. And I saw him, no joke, Carlton, I don't know if I told you this story. He comes up full regalia, backpack, walking stick, I'm assuming a beeper on his belt, a GPS, a compass, and an actual canteen, and his hat. And he has a little log, and he shows me what's in it. And he's like, I'm going to go find where that mammoth is on that railroad trestle. Cerebel's wrong. And then just treks off into the distance. And I was like, I'm never going to see this man again.
and then he walked all the way to Plains. Because I saw him at Plains conference. I was like, what's up, Danny? Yeah.
He's the man.
He's so funny because
yeah, no,
he's the caricature of an old academic. If I picture someone if I picture someone who's old and has seen some shit, it's Danny Walker.
Yeah.
And for the audience who doesn't know, this man is a old guy. He's probably 70, about my height. And to give you an example of this man's just ingenuity, he brings a picnic chair, has a sharpened plunger, and then puts the sharpened end into the ground, and the top of the plunger holds a beer can perfectly. And he's like, used it for 25 years. I was like, all right, Danny.
I got to see Marcel at Plains, which was really cool. And then he was also at Mac and Emily's wedding.
Oh, yeah?
Which was a lot of fun. Yeah, I hung out with Marcel at the wedding for quite a bit. It was a blast having him there. He's a
fun guy, dude.
It was a fun time. Yeah, it was. No, it's really cool to see that he's doing so well. I'm excited to see him at SAAs.
All right. On that lovely note.
Yep.
This is.
No.
Fair enough. Sorry, it's been 17 episodes of not getting enough, all of us bullshitting together. So we just spit it all into one. So this is a condensed makeup for the last 14 episodes.
We're going to have actual archaeology episodes coming up.
We do have some good ones. But for those of you who have stuck with us and have been listening every week, and I know a lot of people messaged me about the weeks that we weren't here, when the podcast was, or the network was airing other ones. I appreciate you sticking through. We're still staying together. We're doing this podcast. I think we decided we're going to do some episodes alone with a guest here and there, but try to do them all together. Yeah, so we got some good content coming.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, man. That should be a fun time. On that note, if you're listening to us on the All Shows Played, please consider following our own show, subscribing to our show, downloading our show, Life in Ruins podcast, because it helps us gain numbers so we can get advertisers and sponsors to help us grow and promote the show. Because anything listened to and downloaded on the All Shows feed actually doesn't help us. So if you really like our show, please support us. Email us at liferuinspodcast@gmail.com if you have any questions or guest suggestions. And yeah, it's we're back, ready for some content. And
please rate and review the podcast. I say it every week, and I know you guys just like kind of tune it out, but rating and reviewing a podcast helps the algorithm on Spotify and iTunes. And if you want our podcast to do well, literally just hit 1 star. All you got, well, I mean, maybe hit a few more than that, add 4, but it helps us out like incredibly.
Yeah, we are 5 stars at iTunes right now.
Hell yeah.
I checked today. We're doing it. We have some really good comments and feedback. You know, guys, please keep doing it. And we have 5 stars on fucking Spotify.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hell yeah.
Love you all.
We were teetering on that 4 star from that first review we got early on. That was like, this is garbage humbug.
Oh, one thing. A few podcasts back, I said I was invulnerable to COVID and I was immune because I drank out of the bottle Carlton drank out of when he got COVID. And I was like, how did I not get it? Must be immune. Store narrator, he was wrong. I got COVID wicked bad when I was in New York. It was bad. Anyway.
Yeah.
And with that, we are out.
Thanks for listening to a Life in Ruins podcast.
You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook at A Life in Ruins Podcast, and you can also email us at alifeinruinspodcast@gmail.com.
And remember, make sure to bring your archaeologists in from the cold and feed them beer.
And now, if you stuck with us this long, it's time for Connor's witty joke. Connor, what joke do you have for us today?
Okay, you guys have a choice. There's a Lord of the Rings one, and there's a non-Lord of the Rings one.
Lord of the Rings one.
Okay.
I'm pro-life. That's my joke. I'm not. Flush that shit out.
Okay. I don't care how goth your friend is. Melkor is more goth.
Oh,
This episode was produced by Chris Webster from his RV traveling the United States, Tristan Boyle in Scotland, DigTech LLC, Cultural Media, and the Archaeology Podcast Network, and was edited by Chris Webster.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.